Hello everyone, welcome back to Todos Santos. This is episode number 10. Today we're going to be going back to the Old Town area, and we're going to be working on kind of this castle wall part and this a little bit of a pedestrian park in this area. So as you can probably tell, I'm a little sick, kind of recovering from a cold. But I did want to get this episode out on Friday, which is when I think I want to upload, because I do want to start or maintain my weekly uploads, because I like that a lot better than like once a month, and I'm sure you guys do as well. But I do have a question for you guys in regards to that. I've been thinking, at least how I have it planned now, of doing 3 episodes of Todos Santos in a row, and then 3 episodes of Alpenglow in a row, just because I kind of get more in the mood to work on one series, and then, you know, I'll kind of lose that and start working on the other one. So I figured about 3 at a time might be a good number. But if you guys want to see more of one series at a time, or if you want maybe less, so alternate, maybe every other episode is a different series, I'm really up to leaving it up to you guys, whatever you guys want to do. I don't know if I really have enough viewers to warrant this, but I'm going to put a poll up. It should be on the top right. Where I'll put some options and you can pick one of those as far as what kind of uploads you want to see, and you know, how often you want to see each series and stuff like that. Or of course, if you have something else to say, leave it down in the comments and I'll definitely check that out and take that into consideration. So if you want to have some input, thank you very much for voting or commenting or whatever you want to do. So now we're building this kind of pedestrian path thing, and this ends up being kind of a little bit of a park. And I'm just using these pedestrian roads from Network Extensions, which are pretty nice. They have a nice texture. But it made me realize that I probably should get the Park Life DLC, and I definitely do want to get that. I'm kind of cheap, so I'm waiting for it to go on sale, because the DLCs go on sale quite often, I think. So I'll get that pretty soon. And I also do want to get Industries, so I might wait for that to go on sale, or I might just get that at full price if I do an episode where I need some of the functions from that DLC, because it looks like there are some really nice functions there, like mail and cargo airports and stuff like that. I'm not going to do a cargo airport anytime soon, so don't get too excited for that, but at some point we might. Okay, so now we're working on this kind of little round park thingy. There's this cool asset that's in the center there. You can see the kind of white structure there. I think there's actually supposed to be like a statue or something in the middle. I'm not sure, and I think I just like don't have the asset or something. So I'll come back and add a statue or something there. I think that would look pretty cool. So I'll do that off screen. I don't do that in this episode at any time. And then we're just kind of doing the adding some curbs to the bike path here to give it just a little bit of depth and texture, because that just looks, the vanilla bike path is not the best aspect of the game. I'm trying to be nice. It just doesn't look great, and the fact that it uses the pavement texture just makes it look kind of bleh. So I decided to add those curbs there. One thing I experimented with, and I might come back and do, is actually clipping it into one of the small or the thin roads from Network Extensions, which gave kind of a nice texture to it. That's something that I actually saw Strict Toaster do in Night All. It wasn't that exact combination of things, but he did something where he clipped a vanilla bike path into a road or a path from Park Life or something like that, and it looked really cool, so I might try that out. And then we have this patterned brick decal texture, because this park is kind of separate from the rest of that sort of Old Town park that we started last episode. I didn't want to keep using the ploppable surface redder brick prop, so I used these decals, and it was kind of cool. It overlapped with the curb there, so it kind of gave it like this cohesive texture. I don't know, I think it looks kind of cool. And then I figured they'd have like a square plot of land here. And so they have, you know, they wanted a circular park, so they put in a circular park, and then they just filled in the rest of the land that they had with some foliage to kind of give it some privacy, because there does end up being some industry next to here, as we'll see in the next episode. So I'm trying to make this whole area fairly walkable, so we kind of have pedestrian paths that cut straight through instead of kind of weaving around the roads. And we have crosswalks and stuff, so I'm trying to at least give a little bit of, you know, create a little bit of a walkable space where people would actually enjoy going and walking around, and it's not just something that they, you know, park and walk in and then go back to their car or whatever, or even just take transit and, you know, do something. It's really a place, I hope, where people kind of walk around and go to things. And again, that's another reason why I'd like to get the Park Life DLC, because it looks like that's really handy for making areas come to life with pedestrians. And then I mentioned these gaps in the walls before, and I just didn't know how to fix that because I just could not get those networks to work. Something's off. But so I decided to fill them in with this, I think it's a vanilla castle tower ruin. I know that this type of tower doesn't really fit in with this sort of castle, but I'm going to let it slide because I think it looks pretty cool. And then I just put those trees in there to show that there's a little bit of overgrowth and it's, you know, fairly old, not really used for anything currently. And then I'm adding some, I added a PPG there to try to get people to come actually like hang around the gate, because I imagine that would be a pretty big tourist attraction, because it is based off one that's in San Juan. There's this really cool big red gate that kind of breaks up the castle wall and allows you to walk from the old town outside kind of to a little waterfront area. It's such a cool thing to see and walk through. And it's pretty amazing. So if you're ever in the San Juan area, I definitely recommend going to see that. Really, just see the entire old town if you're ever there. It's really amazing to look at. Okay, so now we're in this commercial area back within the confines of the castle wall. And my goal for this episode was to fill in this whole area up toward, you know, the castle wall and have this all filled in so that next episode we can kind of move on to that little peninsula to the south, that waterfront area. And we do get that done this episode. So this whole kind of strip here is meant to be a really busy, bustling, newer area of the old town where it's kind of been redeveloped to be a popular commercial area, both for tourists and locals. And there is a little bit of a slope here, so we do some interesting stuff with that. Because I am sick, I'm going to stop talking for a while and let you guys listen to some music while you watch me struggle with the terrain heights. Alright, I'm back. That is a pretty awesome track. I really like that music, so I hope you guys did too. Definitely going to use more of that in the future. So we're working on this kind of strip mall thing, and I imagine that this used to be kind of like not the nicest area. That being said, I think that there can be some great businesses in strip malls, so I imagine that they kind of, this was like a failing area and they offered some sort of incentive, tax incentive or something for businesses to move in, and so it ended up becoming a little bit touristy, a little bit gentrified, but still kind of surprisingly nice for a strip mall. I mean, I come from a land pretty much exclusively of strip malls, and some of the best restaurants I've ever been to are in strip malls, so I think strip malls are fine. I just said strip mall a lot. So now we're working on sort of detailing this area. I thought there would be a parking lot for the businesses that we're actually going to add over here in these kind of blank green areas in just a second, because they're pretty dense as far as this sort of area goes. So I thought there'd have to be some sort of parking lot for the employees there. This wouldn't be a public parking lot or a paid parking lot. It would be for the businesses here. Like this office building, for example, would probably have quite a few people working in it. And the transit in this area is not fantastic. We don't have any trains yet. In fact, we're not going to have any trains on this island area. It's going to be exclusively buses. And of course, we do a ferry connection at some point, actually in the next episode. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So yeah, the transit isn't as good, so I imagine that walking and driving would pretty much be how people would get around here, so they need some parking. Then I just added in those iron fences there. I actually love that asset. It's one of my favorite fences in the game. And I just wanted to block off those doors there. And then I wasn't sure, I didn't want to just fill this area completely in with trees, because I figured this was some kind of grocery store, probably. So I thought they'd have, a back area for deliveries, and then up here to manage to deal with the slope, I decided they'd have a little patio. A lot of larger grocery stores have kind of cafe type thing, so I'd imagine in a place like Puerto Rico, they'd have outdoor seating, because that's a pretty big thing. Where I come from, there's outdoor seating, but there's not really any like open air stuff. Like I see that in tropical places, and that's just very foreign to me. But anyway, getting off track. Yeah, they have this kind of little seating area out here just for patrons of their cafe area. And then I figured this is all kind of nice up and coming stuff. So they have some pretty nice landscaping with some hedges and stuff for privacy. And then, like I said, now we're working on this kind of delivery area. I put those service garages in there, but of course they don't have road access, so they end up complaining. And they don't look that great anyway back there, so I end up off-screen deleting those and putting in just those nice-looking cargo bay assets. They're just props. They're not functional or anything, but it looks a lot nicer. So I'm going to have to leave you guys now. My voice is starting to really feel it from recording this episode. So I'm just going to let you finish watching this detailing. I'll kind of give you a summary of what we're going to do toward the end of the episode. We're filling in all these kind of gaps, and I really just want to have like a nice filled in area. Oh, and you'll see at the end, we're doing a before and after. I'm totally ripping this off of Strict Toaster. He does these amazing before and afters in his videos. You should totally check him out if you're not watching his channel yet for some reason. But I totally just decided to rip that off. I hope that's cool. But it's super awesome, and I think I'm gonna keep doing that for pretty much every episode in this series, not in my other series, because I've already recorded that. But you're gonna see me finish detailing this area, and we're gonna add one more building, so there's not, there's not an overwhelming amount of green space, but there's gonna be a lot of foliage and stuff. So I really hope you enjoy the end of this. Again, I'm sorry that I can't really do a full commentary for this episode, so I'm gonna leave you with this, leave you with some music. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. I really appreciate it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you next time on Todos Santos. Bye.